This video will contain major spoilers about Tides of War. If you still want to read the book, and I can advise you to read the book, please turn off the video now. I'm serious guys, the book is definitely worth it, don't spoil it unless you really have no intention of reading it or if you already read it. Alright, let's begin. I'll tell you the major points in the story. The Blue Dragonflight is slowly splitting apart as they no longer have a purpose after the events of the Cataclysm. They decide to move the focusing iris out of the Nexus because everyone knows where it is. It gets stolen while being transported and Kalecgos, the blue aspect, sets out to retrieve it. Blue Dragons can sense the iris, but at some point he loses track of it and he makes his way to Faramore to ask Jaina Proudmoore for help. Together they figure out a way to track it again, but it moves too fast for Kalecgos to catch it. In the meantime, Jaina and Kalecgos grow closer and develop feelings for each other. Old War Chief Thrall is still busy healing the world, and new War Chief Garrosh is planning war on Faramore and the entire continent. He has a new friend called Melkorok, a Blackrock orc, and Melkorok is there to make sure that no one opposes Garrosh, and any that do get either beat up or killed. Most of the Horde leaders don't want to go to war, the way Garrosh wants to do it, but they're too afraid to speak out for the sake of their own people. So war there shall be. The armies of all the factions of the Horde marches onto Northwatch. It quickly falls and one would expect Garrosh to move quickly to Faramore before reinforcements can arrive. However, he makes his army wait. Bane sends a messenger to Jaina, warning her about the army that's making its way to Faramore. He does this because he remembers Jaina's compassion after his father's death, her wish for peace, and because he doesn't want her to be caught unaware. He does not shrug away from his duty to the Horde and will still fight in the oncoming war. Vol'jin also disagrees with the tactical choices of Garrosh, but they both have to look out for their people. After receiving the message, Jaina asks around the Alliance for help, and help she receives. Some of the finest generals the Alliance has to offer arrive in time to help Faramore. Kalecgos first decides that he must remain neutral, but then offers his help after seeing the massive armies of the Horde. Even part of the Kirin Tor, including its leader Ronan, come to the defense. The Kirin Tor is purely there though for defensive actions on the gate, since they want to remain neutral at all costs. However, there is a Blood Elf spy among them who helps the Horde break down the gate and enter Faramore Keep. His name is Talon Songweaver, and Kalecgos tries to close the gate again by using rocks, but the Horde see this and Garrosh quickly calls for the retreat. The day seems to be won by Faramore. Garrosh, however, has a bigger plan in mind. By sending his army, he managed to draw out some of the finest generals and even the leader of the Kirin Tor. He's ready to wipe them all out in one single blow. It turns out that it was the Horde who had stolen the focusing iris and they reformed it into a mana bomb, attached it to a goblin airship and it's now making its way to Faramore. Kalecgos tries to intercept it, but he gets blown out of the sky by cannon fire, and Ronan pushes Jaina into a portal as he draws the bomb onto himself. He does this to make sure that the explosion is within the protective spells of Faramore so that the blast isn't that big. After the explosion, Garrosh returns to the city to party, and his dreams of conquering Kalimdor are now one step closer, and he orders his ships to create a blockade so that all the other Alliance settlements on Kalimdor can't receive reinforcements. Bane and Vol'jin are appalled at Garrosh and his methods. Jaina wakes up on a deserted island, eyes glowing white from the poison of the mana bomb. Her hair is also changed to the color of white except for one golden lock. She returns to Faramore and sees the onslaught the Horde has done to her city and her people. She recovers the focusing iris and sets out for bloody revenge.
This aberration destroyed everything. Everyone. You spit on mercy? Then you will have none! You want carnage? Garrosh will get more blood than he ever bargained for!
She asks help from Varian and the Kirin Tor, but they both refuse to go to all-out war like that. She steals a book from the library of Dalaran that tells about the focusing iris and how to use its powers, and she sets out to create a huge tidal wave to flush all of Orgrimmar and all of its inhabitants and citizens. Thrall receives a vision from the water spirits as they cry out for help. They don't want to do what Jaina is going to make them do, and they ask Thrall to stop her. Thrall rides to Jaina, and they enter a battle of wind versus water. With the focusing iris empowering her, it takes all that the mighty Thrall has just to hold the tidal wave. Kalecgos finds Jaina in the battle with Thrall and tries to convince her that this is not the way, that she doesn't want to become an Arthas. They manage to convince Jaina, and she decides to use the elementals to defend rather than to attack. Thrall, with his mission done, returns to go and heal the world, and Jaina and Kalecgos fly out with the intention to break the blockade. Jaina first requests Kalecgos to fly her over the Orgrimmar because she wants to see the place for herself. On the way there, however, they see the Alliance fleet heavy in combat with the Horde ships. Varian might not have wanted to go to war the way Jaina wanted to, but it didn't mean that he wouldn't go out and strike back to defend his people. What would seem to be an easy victory, with the horde partying and all, turns out to be a bit more difficult. Garrosh orders his shamans to summon Kraken from the deep, and they trash the Alliance ships.
Ahoy! I'm sailing!
Jaina sends in her elementals, they kill off the Kraken, and she saves the day. The fleet then sets off to retake Northwatch Hold, and they claim it for the Alliance once again. After that, Varian makes plans to break the rest of the blockades, but Garrosh gets news of this and makes his fleet return home. The aftermath of it all is that Jaina goes to Dalaran again to offer her services to the Kirin Tor. She has no city left to defend and figures that this is the best way to go. The Kirin Tor don't just want her as a member, but they want her as a leader. And they want her because of a prophecy that Ronan had received from the dragon Corialstras. Jaina accepts the position but claims that she cannot be neutral for as long as Garrosh is the leader of the Horde. Kalecgos gives the focusing iris to the Kirin Tor, since its flight have all left the Nexus. Throughout the story, his feelings for Jaina and hers for his have been growing, and he decides to stay at Jaina's side. Thrall is still busy again with healing the world, and Varian has the Alliance working hard at building more ships, more weapons to prepare for war. Garrosh, although defeated, figures that he was simply thinking too small. He now sets his eyes not only on Kalimdor but on the entire world. More elements, more Kraken, more of everything. Bane and Vol'jin return to their people, but they're still very unhappy with their current leader. There are two parts in the book that describe a little about the upcoming scenario. For the Horde version, you must recover the Blood Elf spy and take out the Alliance air assault, making sure that the Goblin airship won't be taken down. The Alliance helped Jaina to secure the focusing iris and probably kill a horde or two still left in Faramore. So what's left? All of this is speculation. Garrosh has his mind set on bringing the horde back to where they started from. He wants to destroy everything Thrall has worked for, and he's using honorless combat tactics. He has envisioned that the horde that his father used to run, the demon-infused, blood-crazed horde, is the way to go, and he has his mindset on making that happen. He wants all-out war, everything or nothing. He wants the world to become the horde's world. In the process, however, he forgets that the horde isn't the orcish horde as it started out from. It now has different factions, and he has no regard for his fellow leaders. None at all. Anyone who speaks out of him either gets a slap in the face, gets roughed up, or is simply put down. A quote from the book. This is Bane after the bomb is hit on Faramore. He stood surrounded by throngs of cheering horde, but as he looked around he saw, illuminated by the ghostly arcane glow, faces that wore his own expression of shock and revulsion. What had happened to the war chief who had once said,
"Honor, no matter how dire the battle, never forsake it."
Who had hurled another orc, Overlord Kromgar, off a cliff to die for dropping a bomb on innocent druids and leaving nothing but a crater. The similarity was eerie and struck Bane to the marrow. Garrosh had gone from decrying such murder to committing them. It does seem strange that Garrosh is changing so much. Is this simply because he now has a taste of power? I have a feeling that there's more going on with him. The final conversation between Bane, Vol'jin and Garrosh went like this. "Garrosh Hellscream," said Bane calmly, "I ride now for Mulgore with my braves. There are far fewer of them than when I rode out to answer the call of the war chief of the Horde. My loyalty to the Horde is deep, and you cannot gainsay me on that. But know this, I fight for the true Horde, not one that utilizes methods both unnecessary and shameful. There must never be another Faramore, not if you wish the aid of Bane Bloodhoof." Garrosh stared at Bane with narrowed eyes and a slight smirk. "Duly noted," he said. As he gathered up the reins of his Kodo, Bane glanced at Vol'jin. The troll looked at him sadly and gave him a nearly imperceptible shake of his head. Bane nodded slightly. He understood Vol'jin's reasoning. It was the same as Bane's own. Vol'jin needed to protect his people from the wrath of an offended Garrosh. A world war. As Bane headed west toward home in the serenity of the rolling plains of his beloved Mulgore, he could not decide if Garrosh was mad with power or simply mad. Questions that I still have regarding this book and with an eye on Mists of Pandaria are the following. How did Garrosh know that the focusing iris was being transported in the first place? And how did they take out 5 of the blue dragonflight? How does Anduin end up on the ship and on Pandaria? I can imagine that there will be many more battles at sea now, but I don't understand why or how he is in the middle of it. Who will be the new leader of the Horde is still the big question. It seems that either Bane or Vol'jin are working on it, but it could be that a completely different person will assume that role. I can imagine Bane picking up the mantle, but something tells me that it will be an orc to lead the orcish race, as the Taurans have a Tauran, as the Blood Elves have a Blood Elf, etc. I think might be a good choice for that one. Why has Garrosh changed so much? Is it demon taint? It has hinted here and there about the Burning Legion returning, but is that what's going on with Garrosh? I have no idea, man, and I can't wait to find out. Where are the trials of Varian as was predicted in the interview? So far, and I've been playing all of the beta from the Alliance side of the story, there is nothing from Varian except for the introduction cinematic. After that you follow Anduin of course, but nothing about Varian himself. Where are his trials? My hope is that 5.1 and beyond that will give more. There's still plenty to discover with the upcoming expansion. I hope this video was informative on the upcoming story. Keep in mind that this is very brief and I would never be able to tell the story as well as it is written. I can highly recommend getting the book. Until next time guys, see ya!